Before we start the next tutorial, we need to go to SketchUp and Preferences. We want to look for the word template and make sure that architectural design is in centimetres. It should be at the top of the list and double click. Once you've done that, you can then click the red X. If I now select the tape measure tool, which we'll be looking in the next tutorial, this will allow all our measurements to be made in centimetres. If you look in the right hand corner, you can see that the length is described as centimetres. Let's open a new page. To do that, we go to File, New. This has created a new work page. First of all, let's choose the rectangle tool and draw a shape on the floor. Orbit around to have a better orientation. And let's look at that tape measure tool. Click on it and click one side. As you can see, a dotted line appears and then a number that corresponds to the length. If we look in the right hand corner, we also have a length appear in centimetres. If we double click on that and on our keypad type in 200 for example, it will move the line from its original orientation. Let's look at that again. Double click on the length. This time, let's put 150, enter. It goes back. This allows us to start measuring our shapes precisely. I can now go to the line tool and trace the dotted line. Erase the unneeded lines and I'm left with a square of 150 centimetres on all sides. Let's extrude that to make a cube of 150 centimetres tall. We're very close. I'll enter that and then double click on the number and type 150 manually. And now that should be 150. Let's use the tape measure tool to double check. 150. Let's try to input some real measurements into the program. I've prepared this drawing earlier. Let's have a little look at it and what it means. This is at my study. These are the dimensions of the room, the width and the length, and these four rectangles are the walls. On these two walls here, there is nothing, just blank. This is the height of the room, corresponding here. On the other two walls, we have a window, and on the other wall, we have a door. Let's quickly just look at those measurements. In this part of the tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to recreate this information and putting it into SketchUp program. You can follow these instructions, or you can choose your own room in your own house and measure it out as indicated in front of you. Let's start by looking at the floor plan, 243 centimetres by 310 centimetres. First of all, we're going to select this square and delete it. These lines here can be removed by going to Edit, Delete Guides. Once you've achieved that, we can measure out the measurements of the floor plan. Let's start by selecting the measurement tool. From the red line, we'll be making a line out by 243 centimetres, indicated in the bottom. Remember, we can use the keypad on our computer to enter the numbers manually. Now let's do 310 centimetres. That's the size of our room. We can now create a rectangle that corresponds to our new measurements. This is our floor plan. We have a wall height of 244 centimetres. Let's input that into the computer. So now I'm going to create another measurement around the room of 5 centimetres. This is creating an artificial wall. I'm then using the line tool to map out this new wall feature. We can now select this new wall feature and extrude it to 244 centimetres. This now has created our box-shaped room. Let's look at the diagram again and start putting in some features. On this wall here, we'll be creating a window. Let's start typing those measurements in. From this corner here, we want to go out 59 centimetres. From the adjacent corner, we want to go out 49 centimetres. And from the bottom, 77 centimetres, which should leave a gap of 135 centimetres between these two lines. That'll be our window width. Now let's put the window height in, 130 centimetres. We can now use the rectangle tool to draw our window, and using the push-pull to push through to the other edge. We've now got our window shape. Let's look at the next set of instructions. This is the doorway. I'm going to work on the wall from the inside to make sure the measurements are correct. From this corner here, I'll be going out 32 centimetres, and from the adjacent corner, I'll be going out 135 centimetres. Let's zoom in a little bit and see how that looks. We're now looking for a gap of 76 between these two lines. That's correct. Now that we're looking at the door height, 198 centimetres. Now we can use a rectangle, clicking from corner to corner. Use the push-pull button and push through to on edge, and that's created our doorway. We can tap the figure and move him around if need be, or delete the figure completely by pressing delete on the keyboard. This shows us a scaled drawing of a room. Why don't you pause the program now and give it a go yourself, either using the measurements that I provided or, with the assistance of an adult, measure out a room in your own home to try this experiment with.